bullet journals, art projects, organized planner sheet.
Well, hello! I welcome you to Organized Planner Chic. This is the 7th episode in my journey as a PTSD patient-outpatient using the Zequenz 360 journal. So if you haven't checked out the previous episodes, be sure and do so you can get all caught up on how I started this journey and how I got where I am now. And also, especially in the first one, I speak to you face-to-face. So I'm going to pick up from where we left off last time. So since my last appointment, I learned about something called patterns of problematic thinking. And this came from, according to my therapist, from someone who was a victim of the Holocaust, who was in a concentration camp and observed the behaviors and the thought processes of among everyone in the camp. And after he survived and everything, he became a psychologist and has put these thoughts into practice, and so have other therapists. And so I'm going to name them first. The first one is called jumping to conclusions when the evidence is lacking or even contradictory. The second one is exaggerating or minimizing a situation, blowing things way out of proportion or shrinking their importance inappropriately. The third one is disregarding important aspects of a situation. The fourth one is oversimplifying things as good or bad, right or wrong. The fifth is overgeneralizing from a single incident where a negative event is seen as a never-ending pattern. The sixth one is mind reading, where you assume people are thinking negatively of you when there is no definite evidence for this. And then the seventh one is emotional reasoning, where you have a feeling and assume there must be a reason. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples of these different thought processes, and then I'll share with you some of my stuck points and how they apply to these different thought processes and, how you can change them. So for jumping to conclusions, some examples are where you say things to yourself like, I know I will do badly on the math exam. What if I fail? I'll never get better. I did a bad job. And these are some of the examples they gave. Some that come to mind for me as well are like, I'm not going to compete because I know I'll lose. And there's no way you can know because you haven't competed yet. Example for the second one, which is exaggerating or minimizing. This is completely horrible. Awful. I can't stand this. And I think we've probably all done that, especially as women. We say stuff like that. I can't stand this. Like, this is the worst day of my life. It's just really exaggerating or minimizing. I can't think of an example right now, but I think I'll probably have one coming up. That's where there was something significant that contributed to what happened that had nothing to do with you, but you minimized that thing. Okay, the third one, disregarding important aspects of a situation. An example or examples for that are, I keep forgetting that the perpetrator had a knife, which is important information about how much control I had. So that's a really good example. Fourth one, the one that's oversimplifying. Here's an example. It was wrong for me to run from the dead body or hide while in Cuba. Oversimplifying. It couldn't be right or wrong. It was how you responded to what was happening. Men are all bad is an example also, and no one in authority can be trusted. That's another example. Overgeneralizing, that was the fifth thought process. Examples for that are, I was raped by my grandfather, so when I see men who look like him, I think they must be like him. Okay, the sixth one was called mind reading, and an example of that, or examples for that are, I have always assumed everyone thought I had let them down. I assumed they thought that I had blown it and allowed the ambush to happen. So that's an example. And then for the seventh one, emotional reasoning, example is, since I have always felt guilty, I assumed I was guilty. All right, so my stuck points. For this stuck point, it is what I say to myself, or have said to myself, is it happened because I allowed him to get too close to me. So there are a couple of patterns of problematic thinking for that. One is disregarding important aspects. So for me, pastors and leaders over him thought highly of him, and so did I. His behavior up and until that point had been very respectable, and I felt very safe, so there was no way I could have seen it coming. So that's how I can speak to myself to explain that is a problematic way of thinking. I was disregarding that important part. Emotional reasoning is another problematic thinking for that stuck point. So since I have always felt guilty, I believed I was guilty. Now I realize I felt guilty because I couldn't prevent it, and not because I did anything wrong. He did wrong, so he was guilty, not me. Okay, so another stuck point is I have like 3 different stuck points that basically are the same thing. So I'm just going to read each of them, and then I'll talk about the problematic thinking. So one was, I must control everything so I won't fail and so I will feel safe. And that is basically the same thing as others must be kept at a distance. Again, so you can feel safe, not just physically, but for your feelings and emotions. And another one, everything must be locked at all times. Again, feeling safe, secure, controlling the situation, controlling the environment, trying to secure my identity and, social security numbers, whatever, all those different kinds of things. And so some of those same problematic ways of thinking are actually apply to all, well, the emotional reasoning, I think you can see that on all of these. I'll just read what I put down for some of that. So I feel safe when I think I'm in control, and I believe I'm safe from any type of harm. The truth is safety is never guaranteed, and being a control freak just causes stress. So that's what I can say to my self to help me see that this is just an emotional response to a bad experience that I had. Also, for emotional reasoning, it's all been about protecting myself and keeping myself safe. It's all emotional, and keeping people at a distance will only keep me lonely. Appropriate caution and boundaries are important, but I have to be careful not to overdo it. And another one for emotional reasoning to help me with that stuck point is to say to myself again, it's all been about protecting myself. Here it's about protecting my identity and finances. A real thief can access anything online. While I should take reasonable steps to protect my assets, I should not go overboard and be consumed with concern. All right, and then so for those same ones, the exaggerating or minimizing. So one event doesn't determine my entire future. I couldn't control what happened, and I can't control what will happen. Control is something we rarely have in life, and we can only do so much to be safe. No one can prepare for every single possibility. All right, so I hope that helped you guys as it's helping me. If this video has helped you, please let me know. Tell me in the comments. Let me know if I can help and pray for you in any kind of way as I heal and I learn all about these different things for me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. All of my subscribers get an additional discount from my Organized Planner Chic Etsy shop, and that discount is in the comments below. There's a new one every month, and in my shop I make vegan traveler's notebooks and accessories that any traveler's notebook can use. And also I have a Facebook group called Organized Planner Chic Crew, where I create a free coloring page that you can download every month, and I do giveaways all the time, almost every single month. I try my best to do one every month. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and until next time, happy planning.